beat Georgia, the number one team in the country, that they would put Alabama in the top 4, which would be a huge jump.
Let me say this to you, man, and I'm going to say what I got to say, and let me get your opinion on this. First of all, first things first, all right? There is no way in hell that the college football playoffs can have a playoff system without the SEC, some SEC representative in it. There is no way in hell.
Let's go.
We're talking about the whole Michigan-Ohio State game, the dominance that Michigan showed in that game. If you recall, Dub and I both picked Michigan last week. And I'm not going to go without saying we do this every week. We give y'all the games. We tell y'all who's going to win. I don't know whether y'all listen or not. That's on y'all. We told y'all Michigan was going to win. And I'm telling you right now that when it comes to this college football playoff, it's not done yet. So it's not going to be easy to say who should be in there. But we can go scenarios and talk about what will happen. So listen, Georgia's in no matter what, right? Georgia has finished the college football season undefeated. They're playing Alabama in the SEC championship. And whether they win or lose, two-time defending champions looking for a three-peat, Georgia will be in that college football playoff mix at 1, right? This would be perfect if the college football playoff had already expanded this year because we have so many good football teams and so many teams that are playing at an elite level. But here we are. We got to roll with what we got. All right. Alabama goes to this SEC championship game. Right now, they're on the outside looking in. They are not in the college football playoff. If Jalen Milroe and the Tide somehow roll over the Bulldogs, Alabama will be in the college football playoff. I'll repeat that again. When the season started, Texas beat Alabama. We thought this was not the same team. Jalen Milroe was benched. They were trying to find the guy at quarterback. They got the skill positions. They got the defense like they always had. But everybody thought, let's write Alabama off. I wrote them off myself. But I stand corrected. Alabama has a chance to make this college football playoff. And honestly, I think Alabama beats Georgia in the SEC championship and they get in. So I put Alabama at number 4. All right, done deal. We got Michigan playing Iowa in the Big Ten championship. That game is not going to be close. Michigan's going to beat Iowa and solidify that they're an undefeated team. They beat their rival Ohio State, which is the championship. If you're a Michigan fan, it doesn't matter what happens after you beat Ohio State, but Michigan's going to be at the number 2 seed and be in the college football playoff. Now, we got some interesting things going on here. We got an undefeated Washington team playing in the last year of the Pac-12. Does Washington automatically get in with the Pac-12 championship win? If Washington beats Oregon in the Pac-12 championship, that's the second time they'll beat Oregon. Oregon is a pretty good football team. They've been ranked high throughout the season. I think Washington solidifies its place in the college football playoff. If Oregon beats Washington and avenges the loss that they took early in the season when both teams were undefeated, I think Ohio State gets into the college football playoff. So let me break down the scenario again because I know I done went all over the place. I think Georgia's a lock, right? Georgia's a lock at number 1. They're the best college football team in the country. I think at number 2, you got to put Michigan. Michigan's a lock at number 2. If Oregon beats Washington, that eliminates them both from playoff contention, in my opinion. You get Ohio State at number 3. You get Alabama if they beat Georgia at number 4. Right? If Georgia beats Alabama and Washington also can handle business against Oregon, Washington gets in at number 4. So we got 2 big games coming up this week. We need to see what happens in this SEC championship. We need to see what happens in the Pac-12 championship. And I think that'll solidify who are 3 and 4. But what I believe will happen is that I believe that Oregon will avenge their loss to Washington. They'll beat Washington. Both teams will be out of the college football playoff as such. I believe Alabama will upset Georgia in the SEC championship. Alabama will get in at that 4 slot. Ohio State will be at 3. And then we'll have Michigan at 2 and Georgia at 1, which means you will have Georgia, Ohio State rematch. If we recall last year, they knocked Maserati Marv out of the game, and Ohio State was probably going to win that football game. So you got that rematch. And then you got a great matchup historic matchup in Michigan versus Alabama in the 2 versus 4. And what I believe happens there if we get those 4 teams in, I think that Georgia beats Ohio State convincingly this year. And I think that, man, I'm going to take Michigan to beat Alabama. And I think we got a national title in Georgia versus Michigan.
Oh, wow. I don't have too much to say. To your point in our discussion earlier, I haven't watched too much college football this year. My Colorado Buffaloes, they first season with under Deion Sanders.
Big improvement. We won 4-8.
Yeah. Totally fine.
We'll take it.
A lot of close games. Honestly, they could have been 9-3, but I digress. Needless to say, I don't know. Like I keep saying, I can see Iowa upsetting Michigan.
So let's stay there. You got Iowa upsetting Michigan, right? In the Big 10 championship. So with that happening, who do you then think makes those 4 slots? Who are your 4 teams with Iowa beating Michigan?
It's tough because the ACC is so weak this season, and the only dominant team in the ACC, in my humble opinion, is Florida State. So I can foresee it being like a Georgia, Alabama, Florida State, and then one Pac-12 team. And it may be
whichever one wins the Pac-12 championship.
Yes, which it might probably be Oregon.
So you leaving undefeated Michigan out?
I think Michigan going to beat Iowa. I think Iowa is going to beat Michigan.
But even with Iowa being Michigan, you think Michigan doesn't get in?
No, they don't get in.
Wow. So you have Florida State, whose quarterback is out with a season-ending injury.
Mm-hmm.
They can get over Michigan. Okay. All right. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Listen, as always, man, we're going to give it to you straight on In the Arena. This is a full breakdown on the scenarios that could take place with the college football playoff. Listen, we need 3 things from you. We ask it every time, so you've already heard it. You might say it with me. Give us that CLS treatment. Comment, like, subscribe. We'll be back with more from In the Arena.